Hey there, everybody. We have made some security updates to settings and a few things in Zoom. Today is September 14th, 2020, so we just wanted to walk you through some of these changes. So the key updates for that we have made changes to, a couple things real quick. First of all, when you're accessing Zoom, if you go to it from the web, go to vbschools.zoom.us. If you need to sign into it, if you need to register for the new accounts, for the new paid accounts, make sure you go to vbschools.zoom.us. The second thing is when you get there, make sure that you use the SSO sign in. There's a link that says SSO. Google and Facebook have been disabled, as has been signing in with your school email address. So your long school email address will not work. You need to always sign in with your short email address, and you need to use SSO, single sign-on, to sign into Zoom. We have made some changes to the defaults on meeting settings, so please make sure that you check your meeting settings in two places. In settings for Zoom, in your Zoom profile, those are kind of the overall settings, and then also for your meeting settings. We'll have a separate video for that. One of the biggest changes that students are going to notice is that we have pushed the Zoom app on Chromebooks. Students will be required to use the Zoom app because it's been pushed by the Department of Technology. Students will not be able to remove that Zoom app. And what that does is it allows that when they click a link in your Schoology class to go to your synchronous meeting, it's going to automatically open the Zoom app on the Chromebook, and it's going to take them in. We found that when students were signing in on the web that they were allowed to change their names, but when they sign in with the app will automatically pull in their official name from Zoom. The other thing is that we had a lot of students that when we changed some of these settings at my school last week, that they would get stuck in kind of a loop that it would tell them to verify their email, and it would send them an email, but Zoom was locked out and they couldn't receive the email in their Gmail. So Zoom has now been added to the allow list for Gmail. So students will now be able to verify their address in Gmail, and then that will get them signed into the paid version of Zoom. So a couple things to keep in mind. Zoom uses your general settings at the time when the meeting starts. So if you make a change, like say waiting room, and you start the meeting with the waiting room turned on, the only way to change that is to stop the meeting, exit, turn the waiting room off, and then join back in. There are a bunch of settings in Zoom that are like that. It pulls your settings from the settings tab when you start a meeting. And again, some of those settings can only be changed by exiting a meeting. And one thing to really help to secure your meetings is to make sure you use the waiting room. A lot of the issues that we had last week were people just indiscriminately saying, okay, people are in the waiting room, admit everybody, and then they came in. Please verify that the people who are in your waiting room are on your class roster for the class you're in. Make sure they are their name and the spelling of their name matches what's on your roster. Some of the people last week had names that were just one or two characters off from an actual student that was on your roster. Now that Zoom is going to be pulling in names from our sign-on processes, the name should exactly match what's on your roster. All right, so those are the quick bullet points. I'm going to make a separate video to go over settings for Zoom.